Ladies and gentlemen, so, you have read the title. Time to see how the rainbow operators in Arknights compare to their original version in Siege. And keep in mind this video only includes 4 operators from Operation Lucent Arrowhead event. We'll take a look at Ash and company some other time. Alright, let's start with the 6th star, who is none other than Ela. This is how she looks in Siege. And this is Arknights' version of her, which looks very accurate to her original design in Siege. Although Arknights doesn't include any nation flag or EL organization emblem to the collab operator's design. Could be because of a license issue, or maybe to avoid getting politics into the game. Now, let's talk about her abilities. Ela in Siege is a medium armor defender, and is a trapper. Her unique gadget is a throwable device called Grismot Mines that can stick to almost any surface. And when an enemy enters its proximity, it will explode, inflicting no damage. But it triggers a loud noise and concussion effect to anyone within its radius for several seconds, which leave them vulnerable to be attacked. Technically, considering how her gadget works, Ela is a versatile operator. The mine can be used as some sort of intel to know enemy position, and use it to coordinate with your teammates, or to play aggressively, becoming a roamer, and using her mine as some kind of concussion grenade. And Arknights translate all of this by making Ela a trap master specialist, and to make her as accurate as her original version. Through her talent 1, Arknights makes her very unique compared to her peers. Like how her traps will simply trigger when someone enters its proximity, but also won't do any damage. And with an addition of her module effect, Ela can place her traps on ranged tiles, making it even more accurate to her original version, since her traps in Siege can be placed pretty much anywhere. Ela in Arknights can also have up to 4 mines, instead of 3 like her current version in Siege. And from what I know, this is because Arknights takes Ela in her early release as an inspiration. But even in that early version, the 4th mine can only be used when she's down. And the way Arknights bring that mechanic into the game is by making Ela trigger her mine effect on her position whenever she's defeated. Also, probably the thing that makes her very different from her Siege version is that in Siege, there's no way for Ela to get a new mine. But in Arknights, she can get a new one, and not through some troublesome way like how these two need to be redeployed to replenish their gadget. But this is most likely because Hypergriff wanted to make Ela more suitable in Arknights, especially considering her archetype tend to deploy traps constantly. Okay, I think that's enough of her unique gadget comparison. Now let's see what other things in her loadout. In Siege she has 2 primary weapons. Scorpion SMG, which is a favorite pick, and a semi-auto shotgun that I think is mostly picked if you need to help set up the objective site. And also RG-15 as her only secondary. Luckily we get to see all of her weapons in action in Arknights. She will mostly use her pistol to attack during off skill. And we will see her using her shotgun on skill 2. And I suppose it's a good thing they don't make her shotgun as accurate as possible, because in Siege, this thing can only hold 11 rounds. Meanwhile in Arknights, she can fire as many as she likes until the skill ends. We also get to see her using her SMG on skill 3. And much like the one in Siege, Ela can fire 41 bullets with this. Also on her skill 2, we can see her using her deployable shield. That is practically bulletproof. But in Arknights it just gives some defense boost. Although if they really went lore accurate with this shield, it might be a bad idea, because this shield can be instantly destroyed with a single explosion. Something that is easy to find in Arknights, not to mention the magic stuff. Okay, I think that's enough about Ela. The next operator I like to compare is Doc. This is how he look in Siege versus how he look in Arknights. Well, surely the big difference between Arknights and his Siege default version is that in Arknights Doc doesn't wear his helmet and balaclava. But that is exactly how the Frenchman looks without his headgear. Now, let's talk about his ability, or his unique gadget. In Siege, Doc is a defender and his specialty is support. He is basically a healer, thanks to his stim pistol that can be used to heal himself, other defenders, and heck, he can even use it to heal enemies. Not only the stim pistol will restore the target HP to full, but it also gives the target an overheal. But this overheal will decay over time. Additionally, Doc can also use the stim pistol to revive someone who is down, including himself. But he only has 3 stims per round. And Arknights translate all of this by making Doc an instructor guard. A guard that tends to lean on support. But weirdly enough, unlike his Siege version, where he can either use his stim pistol to heal himself or others at will, in Arknights, whether he will heal himself or other operators depends on what skill he use. In skill 1, he will use the stim pistol to himself, while in skill 2 he will use it to an operator that is right in front of him. And yes, he can't heal enemy with this. And much like in his original version, Doc can carry up to 3 stims, which can be replenished if you redeploy him. Also, about that overheal mechanic in Siege. In Arknights they bring that overheal mechanic by making Doc give the target he heals a temporary barrier via his talent too, much like Humus. But sadly, Arknights didn't bring his ability where he can do revive by using still shot. I was hoping Doc and Arknights will have that ability to cheat death at least once. Something like Dreadnought Guard with their Y module, or maybe something like Surtur Temporary Immortality. Or imagine if he has an ability that lets him prevent an operator in front of him from being defeated by immediately using his stim pistol when their HP drops to 0. But well, it is what it is. Alright, that's his ability. Now let's see his loadout. In Siege Doc has plenty of options for guns. And we get to see almost all of them in his Arknights splash art, event CGs, and other official artwork. But funny enough, in gameplay we never see him using his bailiff, or his primary shotgun. And instead, he only uses his revolver for normal attack. And MP5 on skill 1. That accurately has 31 bullets like the original version.
5 seconds to go.
So considering that, I'm confused as to why Arknights doesn't make him use his shotgun in his skill 2. Especially since they show it left and right in his artwork, and also in the event story. Sounds like a missed opportunity. Moving on, let's compare Iana. This is how she looks in Siege. And this one is her in Arknights. Overall the Arknights version looks pretty accurate to her original. Although certainly, her small figure plus the anime beam makes her way cuter in Arknights. But that's a fact I like. Also fun fact, if you're wondering why she has a natural pale white skin and hair color, that is because she is actually 2B from Nier Automata. Okay, let's talk about her ability. Among the 4 operators in this video, Iana is probably the least that I used when playing Siege. But basically, Iana's unique ability is an infinite drone. Well, technically it is a drone. You see, her ability is called Gemini Replicator. That will create a perfect hologram copy of her that she can control to scout the area ahead and reveal enemies or traps. Or use it to fool enemies so that they shoot the hologram and reveal their location, while your teammates finish that enemy who just got bamboozled. But much like using a drone, Iana will be left vulnerable due to her focus being elsewhere. so it is advised to always find a safe spot to start using her hologram. Also, this hologram can be easily destroyed with a single bullet, so don't think about tanking an LMG anytime soon. Luckily, Iana has an unlimited amount of holograms, but there's a time limit on how long she can control her hologram. And there's always a cooldown between usage. Last time I checked, it's 15 seconds if it's deactivated manually, and slightly longer at 20 seconds, if the hologram is destroyed. So with that ability in mind, how does she play in Arknights? Well, in Arknights, Iana is a doll keeper specialist, and they make her quite unique. Because the first time you deploy Iana, you actually deploy her hologram. And pretty accurate to the original version. It won't attack and will be instantly defeated upon receiving a single damage, but only from the enemy. After that, the substitute, or in this case the real Iana, will replace her hologram. And due to her archetype trait, Iana will swap with her hologram again after 20 seconds, whether you want it or not. And despite her hologram will always swap places with Iana after it got hit. In one of her skill, you can manually make the hologram swaps with Iana. Moving to another topic. Interestingly enough, in Arknights, whoever attacked the hologram first will get a fragile effect, and if there's any, their invisibility will be gone for a few seconds. It's pretty weird, because in Siege, the defender won't get any negative effects if they shoot her hologram. Unlike her fellow operator Alibi's hologram, that can ping the shooter location. I suppose this ability likely comes from the fact that when a defender destroys her hologram, Iana's player, and perhaps others in the attacking team, will certainly know where the shot is coming from. And also left whoever fired the shot quite vulnerable, because now the attacker got a rough idea where that defender is located. Hence the fragile effect and invisibility reveal. But I think Arknights exaggerated this fact with her skill 2, where Iana becomes some sort of radar that reveals enemy invisibility near her. Alright, that's her ability. Now let's see her loadout. In Siege, Iana has two options for primary weapons, and we get to see both of them in her splash art. But we only ever see her using her ARX to attack. Also, this is a bit weird. When you deploy Iana's hologram, you can see the hologram is holding the G36, but the real Iana is holding the ARX. This is weird, because in Siege, Iana's hologram will perfectly copy her appearance and what weapons she equipped. Also, on her skill 1, whenever Iana swaps with the hologram, she will throw her frag grenade to the attacker's position. It's pretty funny seeing this, because in Siege, Iana has lost her frags since 2023, I suppose. Also, you get to see Iana rappelling down here, a reference to how attackers in Siege can rappel or ascend the building's outer wall to get to the objective. I don't think you get to see this in Ella or Doc. After all, only attackers can do it. The last operator we will compare in this video is Fuze. This is him in Siege. And this is him in Arknights. The similarity is impeccable. Okay, in Siege, Fuze is a full health attacker, and his unique gadget is a cluster charge. A gadget that can be deployed on any soft or reinforced wall, floors and hatches. Once it's deployed, it can be detonated by a remote detonator, which results in the gadget to drill a hole in the wall or ceiling for a brief second, then launching multiple sub-grenades to the other side. In the current version, Fuze can bring up to 4 cluster charges per round, but he can only deploy and activate 1 cluster charge at a time. The grenades can deal a heavy blow to enemies that got caught in its radius, or even straight up defeating them. Although since there's a delay before the gadget launches the grenades, and it also makes a pretty loud noise when it's activated, the defender can easily run to the other room to save themselves. But that also means forcing them to move to the other spot, and they might end up in the attacker's line of sight. Aside from damaging enemies, it can also be used to effectively destroy enemy gadgets and traps. So, how does Arknights translate his unique ability into the game? Well, in Arknights, he is a Centurion Guard, a frontliner unit that is good at clearing enemy swarms. And in this game, he can only use his cluster charges if you use his skill 2. And you can only use it when Fuze is facing a high ground tile, with a path behind it like this. And unlike the cluster charge in Siege, this one won't hurt friendly units. But this whole requirement makes his skill 2 extremely situational. And kinda feels contradictory to what his archetype's supposed to do. Because you hardly will use him as a main blocker with this skill equipped. Although the high damage from this is probably worth it, and that could be what you actually trying to achieve. But sadly, it seems Arknights is using Fuze in his early release as an inspiration. Because in Arknights, he can only carry 3 cluster charges, instead of 4 like his current version in Siege. Although he can replenish it if he is redeployed. But still, in a way, Arknights kinda nerf him. And a fun little fact before comparing his loadout. Fuze also has that rappelling down animation whenever he is deployed. Okay, let's see his loadout. In Siege, he got plenty of options for primary weapons. And we get to see 2 of them in his splash art. His LMG, and ballistic shield. And while he only attacks by using his LMG, but that shield is not just a decoration. Because it is what gives him the talent to have a chance to nullify ranged physical attacks. Back to his LMG. While making this video, I just realized I never really use or see anyone using his machine gun. Well, I think this is most likely because the other options are a better choice. You got a shield that can protect him from bullets and explosions. Combined with what I think is one of the best pistols in the game. And the other primary option is one of the best assault rifles in the game. But well, no doubt he looks cooler with an LMG, and I think it makes more sense for someone who is a Centurion Guard. Anyway, he will use his LMG for his normal attack. But he will go full auto when you use his skill 1. And interestingly enough, this skill will start giving him an ammo mechanism. Despite his normal attack still uses that LMG. There are 100 bullets in that skill, which is the same amount of bullets that this machine gun can carry in Siege. Well friend, I guess that's all the rainbow operators comparison I can show in this video. Tell me what you think, and comment any other neat detail if there's something I overlooked. That should be all. Adios.